Hello, bookworms!
Hi!
Today I'm here with Alexa Loves Books again. We are filming our second video together, and today we're going to be giving you all of our, top fantasy recommendations, the things that when people ask us what they should read because they want to read something fantasy, we're like, these are the books.
Yep.
You can tell them our agreement before filming.
Originally, before we started even thinking about what to choose, I already told Kristen, I was like, we can't use Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings because those two are series that we both would have picked, and then we would have just had the same books in our video. Yeah. So you guys should already know by now that both of us would highly recommend reading the Harry Potter series for sure. Also, the same goes for Lord of the Rings, and then watch all the movies and then join the fandom and be excited with us. But yeah, so if we were gonna add more recommendations, and this is a joint recommendation now, it would be for Harry Potter and for Lord of the Rings. Oh, and this has nothing whatsoever to do with what we're showing you, but I am co-hosting the Flights of Fantasy Challenge with my friend Rachel from Hello Chelly, and Kristen is joining in on it. And we're basically just, challenging people to read as many or as little fantasy as they want to this year. You can set your own numerical limit, and we've been having a lot of fun with it so far.
It has been fun.
It has.
This is my first year of doing challenges, and that was the first one I signed up for.
It's very no pressure, because Rachel and I both don't like feeling pressure to read a certain amount or a certain number. So yeah, we hope more people will be joining us. And joining us for book club as well.
So my first and top fantasy recommendation that you guys probably are expecting is the Name of the Wind series by Patrick Rothfuss. Actually, sorry, the King Killer Chronicles. It's like a tongue twister. The first book being The Name of the Wind, and the second book being The Wise Man's Fear. This book follows the main character named Quoth. Funny story, I did not read this book for so long because I was like, I don't like this cover. I feel like it's going to be very fantasy and not very approachable.
Yeah.
Which was not the case at all. I was completely engaged the entire time that I was reading it. But Quoth ends up becoming the greatest wizard of all time. And the way that it's told is he is recounting all of his tales to a chronicler. So it's amazing because he is just since he's retelling stories, he's only telling you the important parts, and literally everything is exciting and important. It's just one of my favorite books ever. And Quoth is just such an amazing main character. He is he gets himself in trouble with his mouth, and he is really funny. He definitely makes some enemies, and that is really hilarious too. But he's very intelligent, he's very resourceful, and he really made himself into what he is. So just read it.
So basically, I should probably read it.
Yes.
I've been meaning to, I just haven't. And I know a lot of people love it. And now that I'm hearing more about it from you, I'm kind of like, I should probably go grab a copy of this book.
You should. It's the best. It's one of my favorite books ever.
That's probably going to happen at some point. Okay. The first book I'm going to show you guys is probably not going to surprise most people who know me. It's Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas, and I'm recommending the entire series, the 5 books that are out: Assassin's Blade, Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, Heir of Fire, and Queen of Shadows. I'm pretty sure most people have heard of these books already, but if you haven't, let me try not to be spoilery. It's about an assassin named Selena Sardothian, and she is basically taken out of prison in this first book to compete in a competition to be the king's champion. The people who sponsor her are the Crown Prince and the Captain of the Guard. And let's just say shenanigans ensue in this book and in all the all the books that come after it. I will say that the first book is a little bit, it's a little bit formulaic. You can kind of guess what's going to happen, but the characters are so great. I enjoy them so much, and they just keep getting even better. The story keeps getting even better too as each book comes out.
Crown of Midnight, the second book, is what really hooked me in that series.
So good.
The end, I was audibly gasping, and Andrew was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "I think so." I'm not sure. The next book that I have to show is a standalone novel, and that is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. This book is just so beautifully written. It's completely magical. All of the descriptions and prose, there's just so much imagery that it's hard not to oh, you have to. But read The Name of the Wind first.
Okay. She's telling me in order.
I want to talk about that more.
Okay.
So Night Circus follows these two magicians who were brought up through like different schools of magic, and their entire lives have been leading up to this duel between them to figure out like which way is the correct way for magicians to be taught. So it's really interesting because there are these two people who have these two lives that are very intertwined and very dependent on one another, and it's supposed to be a duel to the death, so only one of them is going to survive. So of course they're in love. Like, of course they fall in love. Of course they are. That happens. But besides all of that, it's honestly like the world that makes this book. It's a traveling circus that kind of just appears without any notice or anything. It just sets up, and there is a whole bunch of people that have formed like a cult following around the circus, and they'll wear red in order to like show their support because as you can see, there's a lot of like black, white, and red in this. So they just like appear, and they have all of these like beautiful acts and everything, and it just like from the first page, it completely pulls you in, and you're just like, whoa, like it's just so well written. I want her to write something else because
has she written anything else?
No, this has been the only thing that she's published, but I know that she's like working on something else. It just hasn't come out yet, but this is amazing and I want to reread it soon.
I've been thinking about reading that book. Funny, this is the second time I'm saying this. I have been thinking about reading that book. I wasn't sure if I wanted to read that book, but every time I go to a bookstore, if I see it on the shelf, that's exactly the point where my eyes will be drawn, and I'm like, this cover is so pretty. Because it really is. I mean, it's so striking with the red and the black and the white. And then I've heard really good things about it. And I do like the concept of the dueling magicians who happen to fall in love. Mm-hmm. It's like Romeo and Juliet, but not.
I'm actually like a slow reader, and I read this whole book in a day because I just couldn't I couldn't get over everything in it.
That
it
makes me want to read it more.
The
next book I'm going to show you is a YA duology. Yes, it's a YA duology that I read maybe a couple of years back. I haven't reread it since, which is a tragedy because it was amazing. And it is, well, the book I'm showing you is Aeon, Dragon Eye Reborn by Alison Goodman, and the sequel is called Iona. First of all, if you like dragons, there are dragons in this book. Big important thing right there. It's basically, it's hard to talk about this one without being spoilery. You know what? I'm just gonna tell you. I'm just gonna pull out like random facts and say them out loud. Okay, so it's about a boy named Aeon who's been training for years in dragon magic, and he is basically hoping to get chosen to be a dragon eye, which is an apprentice to one of the 12 dragons. I think, yeah, because it's the zodiac. So 12 dragons that basically have power over their kingdom. So this whole book covers that adventure that Aeon goes on. I'm trying not to spoil it, and people who have read it know what I'm trying not to say. But it's so good. The way she weaves in, like, the Asian culture, because it's very, like, it's based on the Chinese zodiac.
Oh.
It's very interesting. It's very, like, even the dragons are very Asian. There are different kinds of dragons in the world, and the way they tackle it here is Asian. It's funny because the author is Australian.
Oh.
But she does a brilliant job of, like, integrating Asian culture into her writing. I just fell in love with Aeon as a character. I think that I love badass characters, and I love when they're forced into a position where they have to fight to get something. Mm-hmm. And in this book, obviously it happens because Aeon wants to be a dragon eye, and to do that, he has to prove he can handle it and be capable of it and get chosen.
I actually haven't heard of that, so I'm really excited.
Oh, that makes me happy then that I brought it.
Yeah,
it's really good.
It makes me happy too.
Like, it makes me want to reread it.
Going to order that as soon as we finish filming this video.
I want to say that I hope I remembered it exactly the way I'm saying it was, because I'm pretty sure I got all the major details right. Let's just hope I got most of them right.
And then my last book that I have to show is one of my all-time favorites. It is Stardust by Neil Gaiman. Neil Gaiman has always been like one of my favorite authors, and now that I'm like talking about it, I've only read it once and I really want to reread it. It's actually not too long either, and it's one of the only YA books that Neil Gaiman has written. So it follows a guy named Tristan who ends up finding a falling star, but the falling star is actually a human. So he is like just like traveling with her, and like their relationship with each other is really adorable, and throughout it, he's also trying to win the heart of this other person, but, like, oh my gosh, I can't, like, I don't want to talk about it because I don't want to ruin anything, but I just love him with the star. And obviously, like, Neil Gaiman is known for world building and for fantasy in general, so he just does such an excellent job with it. If you've read any of his other novels, I would actually say that it reads a little bit differently than those. This is not as dark as some of his other ones, but I just really love it. There's also a movie of it, which I've never seen. Have you?
I have. I actually liked it. Like, it's not my favorite book to movie adaptation, but it's pretty good. When you were talking about the story, I'm like, oh, I do want to reread it again. But you are right. I do feel like it's a little different. The only other book I've ever read from him is Coraline.
Oh, I love Coraline.
I love Coraline, but it's definitely darker than this book. This book is a little bit... It's not lighter either, because stakes are still pretty, like, high. But it's definitely good. The movie was pretty good, so you guys should watch it, but only after you read the book.
Agreed.
And the last book I'm going to show you is one, it's an older book, but it's one of my newer favorites because I only read it in 2014. And it is Daughter of the Forest by Juliet Marillier, and I really like the second book as well, Son of the Shadows. Third book, so let's just pretend the first two books are like their own thing. And they are sort of, they're basically standalones because the character changes with each book.
Oh, okay.
So you can read this one and not continue the series if you want to. There's an overarching plot, but if you're not like too, like you don't feel the burning need to know what happens next, then you can actually pause in between the books and like read them at your leisure. This book is actually a book inspired by the Six Swans fairy tale. Oh. I believe that's what it's called. Yes, the Six Swans. It's basically about a girl who has to figure out a way to save her brothers who are all turned into swans by an enchantress. That's basically the fairy tale, and the book is inspired by that. So basically, you kind of have an idea what the plot is. What I love about this is that it's historical fantasy. This one is set in like Ireland in like before the medieval age. I don't even remember what it's called, but it's way back there. And it's just so interesting. The world is so well done. The writing is beautiful. Like, there are so many turns of phrase that I kept returning to over and over, like, while I was reading it, because I was just like, this describes something so perfectly. The main character's name is Sorcha, and I really love her. She is so strong in the face of all she has to face. She's the youngest of eight siblings?
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Because all her brothers are older. And she's basically the baby. And then when she is, forced into a position where she has to do something to save the brother she loves so much, she just rises to the challenge and goes for it. No matter what happens to her, her main focus is just saving her brothers. And I love that connection between them. And of course there's a romance. I'm not going to say between who, but it is probably one of my favorite fantasy romances I've ever read because it's so slow burn and it's so unexpected. And when it actually happens, like when everyone admits that, oh, there are feelings there, I was like, oh my gosh, I was not expecting this, but I love it. I really, really love it. Well, we basically each have two books that we haven't read and one that we both read.
I know, that actually worked out well for us too.
So basically we're now, again, going to add to our TBRs.
Yeah.
Because why not?
Yeah. Which we had just been patting ourselves on the back for
we're doing so well.
Some of them down.
It's not going to happen.
Oh well.
Well. So these are our top fantasy recommendations at the moment. I'm sure like the more fantasy we read, we'll have more to show you guys. But
it's probable.
Now, it's these, and then Kristen said, and Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
Let's not forget, ever.
Those are our favorites. Do you want to say where to find you again?
You can find me on my blog, on Twitter, and on YouTube at Alexa Loves Books. And I hope you tell us what your favorite fantasies are.
Yeah, and
probably
add
to our TBRs.
If you've read any of these
too. Oh, yes.
Tell us about
but
your
try
feelings.
Not to be spoilery, guys. There are a few things that I don't want Kristen to know about these two.
Yeah, well, I
might shouldn't say.
Read them very soon because they sounded very appealing, so
I'm glad.
I wouldn't worry. But yeah. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you again soon.
Bye! Bye.